Good morning. This is Brian Dayton with the West Virginia Chamber of Commerce, and today is day 38 of the legislative session. We are heading into the final 3 weeks, so there's going to be a lot of action happening right now as the legislature works furiously to wrap up everything that they still want to do. An important day is coming up, not this coming Wednesday, but the following Wednesday will be day 50, and that's known as crossover day. And that is the day that bills must pass out of the House of Origin. So Senate bills must clear the Senate and House bills must clear the House by that day. Now, that does not include the budget bill, but any other type of legislation has to cross then. You have to back up a few days before that, however, to make sure that bills can get out of committee in order to be read 3 separate times leading up to that Wednesday. So we are just one more week, really, after this week for committees to get their work done and then over to the full body for consideration. This week had a lot of action at the legislature. So we're still continuing to work on childcare. I'm going to be in a meeting later today on that topic. But I wanted to talk about some other bills that may be of interest to our members that have moved through the session this week. The first bill, or actually there are two of them, one in the House and one in the Senate, deal with increasing the amount of Sudafed you can buy. Now, I, for one, usually we get the capital credit at some point, and Sudafed is a lifesaver. But those of you who know, there's a limited amount you can buy in a certain time frame. So both the House and the Senate have bills moving to increase the annual amount of Sudafed that a person can purchase without a prescription. In the House, that is House Bill 5022, and it is on first reading in the House of Delegates today. And in the Senate, it is Senate Bill 668, and it is on passage stage, third reading today. So that's just a bit of information. I think a lot of people have been very curious about those bills, even if they're not working them, because if you have any sinus issues, it's important. An interesting bill passed the Senate earlier this week and is now in the House Finance Committee, and that is Senate Bill 378. And that bill deals with prohibiting tobacco or smoking in cars when minors are present. That bill passed the Senate on a 25-8 vote, but it was the lead sponsor, Dr. Tom Takubo, a pulmonologist and the majority leader of the Senate. The other position, Dr. Mike Maroney, was also very supportive of this bill. But it is very clear that you cannot smoke in a car with a minor. Now, here's some things about it. The penalty is $25 if you are caught doing that. And it cannot be used for a police officer as probable cause to initiate a traffic stop. So a police officer would still have to find probable cause for another reason to stop that vehicle. And similar to a seatbelt violation, only if they stop the car for another vehicle could they issue a citation for smoking in a car with a minor. In our view, not a controversial bill at all. However, it ended up being a 25-8 vote. So we found that a little bit interesting, but it is now single referenced in the House Finance Committee. Earlier this week, I gave testimony in the public hearing in support of House Bill 4850, which deals with the taxes and their property taxes on natural gas production in West Virginia. This is a very important bill. It's a very simple bill as well. It simply removes the sunset provision that was put in place a few years ago when the legislature updated the rules on property taxes for the natural gas industry following a Supreme Court decision directing them to do so. This is a good bill. It is like I said, very simple bill in that it simply removes the sunset provision because the current law is set to expire next July. So the chamber is very supportive of that. It's very important to our natural gas members, and we expect it to pass out of the House today and then continue moving forward in the Senate, where we believe it has a great deal of support. One other item I just wanted to touch base on, we've talked a lot about House Bill 4759, which is the bill that would mandate E-Verify. The chamber is now involved in a coalition of 12 associations that are opposing this bill. I'm not going to spend a great deal of time today talking about it, but what I want to mention is that we've been having a number of conversations with senators on this bill. It has been marketed as a way to deal with the problem at the southern border of the United States. But when we have the conversation and just go through the facts of the bill, exactly what it would do, senators are remarkably receptive to that message and realizing that this may not be the direction they want to go. So we're continuing to stay on top of that bill, and I would say feeling better and better as every day goes on about the prospects of defeating that very problematic legislation. I'm going to check back in again next week with you just to give you a further update on things moving at the Capitol, but wanted to change it up a little bit today and talk about some other bills that are moving that are of interest to other segments of the chamber membership. As always, the easiest way to reach me right now is my email address, which is bdayton@wvchamber.com. So if you have questions, please feel free to reach out. Appreciate everything you do as members and the support you give us when we head over to the Capitol to represent you, the business community of West Virginia. So thank you very much and have a great weekend.